皆さんこんにちは。ピクテ客員フェローの岡崎良介でございます。今日は私がホストを務めさせていただくことになっていまして、何をやるかというとですね、ピクテiTrustインド株式運用責任者のプラシャント小谷さんとともに、インドの今のマーケットがどうなっているのか、経済がどうなっているのか、金融政策がなんてことを聞きたいこと、皆さんを代表して私がですね、簡単なものから、ちょっと込み入った話から今の現代の話までいろいろ聞いてみたいなという、そういう企画でございます。どうぞ最後までお付き合い願えたらと思います。Nice to meet you, Prashant.
Thank you. Very happy to be here with you.
Yeah, it's an honor to meet you with you, have a discussion about a lot of things.
Thank you.
We have enough time today. So, on behalf of Japanese investor, let me ask you from a basic question to typical question, and finally the recent difficult question.
Okay, sure.
I'm going to ask you, okay?
Yeah.
First of all, looking back the past year, how do you view the dynamic movement of Indian market? How do you think about that?
Okay, sure. So see, last one has been rather volatile in India. I would say volatility is a feature of equity markets.
Right.
It's not a bug, it's a feature, right? And that is something that we have seen over a long period also. While Indian markets have done very well over the last 20, 25 years, always these periods of ups and downs which happen. That's what we have seen in the last 1 year also. I mean, there are some reasons behind that. One is that the economic growth in India, that has slowed down a bit. So that is one reason. There are some concerns about competition coming in certain sectors. So that is another reason. And then there's all this news about the Trump tariffs and stuff, which is also leading to this bit of market volatility.
I think the Reserve Bank of India, RBI, decided to cut the interest rate twice this year. It's okay, market and real economy. How's going now?
Okay, so the key thing that the Reserve Bank looks at is the inflation in the country, and that decides how much should be the policy rate. And inflation in India has been coming down. So the latest reading was 3.16%.
Oh, really?
Okay, and that is like almost at the 5-year low now. Okay, and that is what is giving the central bank some headroom to cut rates, because the rates were like at 6.5%. 6.5 versus 3.16 is a large gap, and that is what is giving them some confidence that they can actually bring down rates without stoking more inflation in the country. So we believe that it actually has more room to go down because the rates have only come down by 50 basis points, and easily they can come down by another 50 to 100 basis points through the course of the next 12 months.
6% for Japanese.
Yeah.
For me, the 6% is enough or too high.
Yeah.
How about the Indian people, the 6% interest rate, policy rate?
Okay, so it is little higher than the historical average rates that India has seen. But yeah, I mean, usually would think that maybe going below 5% would be difficult. India is a little bit higher rate economy than what Japan is. They run a little bit high fiscal deficit for which they need to have high interest rates to incentivize the fixed income investors also. So yes, it will probably always be higher than what you will experience in Japan.
Young people and old people, that's a different, maybe the reason, right?
Yeah.
Okay, next question is Trump tariff. This is a difficult problem. To be honest, how about the impact on these tariff on the Indian economy?
Sure. So see, actually the impact has been pretty limited. I mean, yes, obviously there was a large reciprocal tariff put in by Trump on India, which was 26% compared to about 2.5% or something that India was paying. So it was a large increase, but that has already been suspended, right, for 90 days. And meanwhile, India is already negotiating with US to sign a trade deal. And already both sides have announced that a deal should be signed up pretty soon. And therefore, we're not too worried about that. In any case, the impact was not supposed to be high on India. I mean, India is a more domestic demand-led economy.
Right.
The export proportion is small.
Right.
So even if the tariffs were to come as they were proposed, even then the impact, I mean, we also did some calculations internally. Our economist projected that the impact on GDP would be like 0.1%. So it was very small impact. It was one of the lowest impact that they could find among the major economies in the world.
How about the negotiation between the US? It's going okay or a difficult problem?
These are more closed-door negotiations that we would not know much about, to be honest. There have been some comments which have been made, like Trump mentioned that India is offering 0% tariff on all goods. And then the Indian side said, no, we have not offered that. So I don't know what's actually happening. I will probably be wiser in a few weeks when everything kind of comes out. But I think the key point to understand is what is the rational course of action for both sides. And I don't think the rational course of action is high tariffs.
Right.
Because that is negative for both the sides. So I think the rational action would probably be maybe a little bit higher tariffs than what it used to be, but not as high as this 26%.
Regarding to the Trump's tariff, one more question. This is very difficult problem. The other day, Apple CEO Tim Cook said that India will play a major role in making iPhone, new supply chain for the U.S. market. How do you think about that? Please tell me about the feasibility of this and impact it will have on Indian economy. How do you think?
Okay, sure. So see, it is not something which is futuristic. Apple is already making iPhones in India. It's already about like 15% of all the iPhones that Apple sells around the world, they are being made in India. Okay, so it's only about increasing that production rate. You are seeing that Taiwanese companies are there, people like Foxconn who assemble iPhones. They are already present in India, setting up factories.
Oh, really?
And then Tata Group also, they have also taken over one of the Wistron Group's facilities. Wistron is another Taiwanese company. They have taken over that and they are producing iPhones for Apple. So it's something which Apple can already see as working in India, and that's why they're confident that this can be scaled up. So I would not worry that it is viable or not viable. In terms of Apple's own calculations, why they want to move from China or Vietnam to India, I think they are looking at few things. One is obviously the low cost of labor that you can get in India. And second, they also want to de-risk themselves because of all these tensions which keep on going between US and China. They also want to de-risk themselves, and that's why this move is happening there. So I think it's a very positive move. It's a good stamp of approval that Indian manufacturing has kind of arrived in a way, that there is good skilled workforce available in the country to take that up. So I think this will obviously encourage other companies also to try to move their production away from wherever they are to India, because they can see that Apple is leading ahead.
I'm curious. This is India, right? Okay. Where is the location that their iPhone factories?
Okay, so a lot of it is in the south of India, which is near a place called Chennai, if you have heard of. It was earlier called Madras.
Madras, okay.
Yeah, but now it is called Chennai. So a lot of iPhone factories, a lot of smartphone factories are actually around this area, because you get very high skilled and very educated workforce in the surrounding areas. Yeah, but you also have in the north, around the region of Delhi, which is the capital of India. Again, you get a lot of these assembly factories, again, because there's a concentration of talent there. So Samsung, for example, they set up their largest ever mobile manufacturing plant all across the world in India. That's actually set up near Delhi.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Where is the port to export to US?
Okay, so see, India has this huge coastline, right? And there are ports like every few hundred kilometers, you will find a port. Okay, so you can, I mean, depending on wherever your factory is, you can go to one of these ports and export your products to, I mean, usually, if you're going to US, then it will be going through the west coast.
West route and east route, both sides. I see. Very interesting.
Yeah.
Okay. So, by the way, next is very basic question. Okay, I'll ask you a couple of questions. Number one, three major family group or the conglomerate sounds very difficult for me there. Tata, Reliance, Birla. Am I right?
That's right. Yes. Yeah.
I think this structure is very unique and a very big difference from the Japanese industry. It's a good thing or the bad thing or the merit, demerit. Please tell us, Japanese and do not. I think Japanese people do not understand this situation. So from the first, please tell me.
Okay. So see, these groups have been operating in India for a long time. Like Tata Group has been around like more than 100 years now. Reliance is probably maybe 40, 50 years old. Birla has been again around for more than 50 years. So these are obviously very old groups who are still kind of operating well in India, who are still kind of leaders in different businesses. If you think about their key strength, one is obviously the amount of capital that they have, simply because they've been in the business for long. So they have a lot of capital to invest in any capital intensive type of business which comes up. Second is the trust, because these brands have been around for a long time. So they evoke a different type of trust among Indian consumers. Like Tata, for example, the key USP of Tata Group is trust. And through trust, they can sell you Tata Salt, they can sell you Tata Steel, they can sell you Tata consumer products. I mean, they can, you'll go and stay in a Tata hotel because of that trust factor. Okay, so these groups really have very different strengths versus, let's say, a new economy type of company who would have a strength in terms of being more agile. They can be more nimble when it comes to kind of figuring out what the new opportunities are. But when it comes to these maybe more old traditional businesses, then these groups are actually able to still do well. So that's how they have survived. They've also been making bets on these new things. Sometimes they fail, sometimes they succeed. So that's a bit of a mixed record there. But in the old economy things, they are still pretty good.
What about their business behavior? Tolerant or very isolated or side or?
Okay, so Tata Group, for example, is considered one of the most ethical groups in India.
Say again, please.
Most ethical. Ethical means very honest. So people there, I mean, though you would imagine that India being an emerging market, there will be some bit of corruption here and there. But Tata Group stands out as one group which will not bribe anybody for any work. Okay, so they're very ethical, and that is the reason also why the best of talent would want to work for them. Okay, they're attracting the best talented people in their group because of their ethos. They're very ethical. They will take care of the community around them. So very, very friendly also to the communities as well as to the employees. Other groups, I mean, Birla Group would also be similar. Reliance Group has been a bit of a new group. They're considered a little bit more connected with the government. They're able to influence the government policies and stuff. So then, therefore, they succeed also in places where some bit of government influence is actually helpful.
Very interesting.
Yeah.
One more basic question about the Suzuki. Success story, Suzuki. Actually, to be honest, I was wrong because in the past, I thought it would be difficult. It's a very, very risky business. I thought I was wrong.
Okay.
Why? No, what's the reason that the Suzuki is perfectly success in India? What behind this success? What do you think?
Okay, I think so. They got a great first mover advantage because they entered India in like 80s when no other foreign car company was around. Okay, and they set up this as a joint venture with the Indian government first, and then they later took control of the entire operation there. But they entered India when Indians did not have great car options to buy from. And then Suzuki came in with great looking cars then. And interestingly, they combined the Japanese kind of technology of making small cars with the low-cost manufacturing that you can only do in India. Because when that got combined, then they could produce very affordable small cars for Indians. And that's how they succeeded. And they when they started, they had like 80-90% market share in India.
Really?
Yeah. Later on, obviously, more and more players have entered into that business. And now their market share is more around 40-45%, which is still commendable, considering that everybody else in the world has come there. But yeah, I would say the first mover advantage is still there. People still associate Suzuki as a brand which is value for money, which gives you the best mileage because Indians are value seekers. and this very kind of, while being cheap cars, they're also very easy to service, very cheap to service as well. So that kind of a brand strength that Suzuki has got, it's very difficult to displace easily.
India's circumstance is very tough. Suzuki is okay. Suzuki is doing well. Suzuki's car, no problem. Go to
I would not say it has no problem. Obviously, the technology is changing, right? So technology is shifting from petrol and diesel cars to more of hybrid or electric vehicles. And that is one place where Suzuki needs to kind of invest better. Obviously, they have got this partnership with Toyota, which should help them on that path. But obviously, we know that there are many electric car companies around the world who are maybe gaining faster. And that is one area where they also need to little bit maybe improve on how they work upon things, because that disruption can actually kill them in some time.
How about the reputation of Suzuki? The Indian people like Suzuki's cars? They
do,
they trust?
No, certainly, and that is why they have this 40% plus market share, because Indians trust those cars. Yes,
I'm very happy to hear that. Good. And next is a very important question about iTrust India equities. Your responsibility.
Yeah.
Number one question. How the India stock market may be impacted on the potential Trump 2.0 era? This is very wide range question. Could you say again? Could you answer me again, please?
Okay. So see, we already spoke about the tariff side, right? Which does not seem to be impacting India too much. But then if you have to kind of think beyond that, what is Trump doing to the world? It is basically saying that US should have a smaller role in the global affairs. It should be taking care of its interest first. It's more inward-looking policy that Trump has compared to the more outward-looking policies that US always had. Okay, and how that could impact India? It could mean positive or negative things. I would say the negative first is that India always thought that US would kind of support him in case anything bad were to happen. Maybe that support is not as guaranteed as before. Okay, so that is the negative. But on the positive side, it also gives a chance to India to actually step up its own game, because India is not a small country anymore. It's not like it is dependent upon other countries to do well. It's already the fourth largest economy in the world. Okay, and therefore it gives a chance to India also to become one of the global leaders. I mean, we are going from, let's say, unipolar world to a multipolar world, and that one of the poles could actually be India.
Yeah, compared to Japan, I think that India is in a very good position, because India and the US, it's a kind of the win-win relationship. But case of the Japan is something like the beating each other, right? This is, the Japanese car invaded the U.S. market. That was a real history. So I think this case, this Trump's tariffs goal is a kind of the new structure, global supply chain structure. US will need India's power, and India will play a big role as Tim said, will be played a big role in this new supply chain, I think.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, US companies also need India. US government would need India, definitely, and US military would need India to be still kind of retaining some control, some power in Asia, especially when China is obviously kind of increasing their own powers and trying to kind of expand their horizons. India becomes a natural hedge against all of that.
Now we'll get back to the very important question. Because next question is, do you see India's geographical neutrality as a structural advantage in the current place of de-globalization?
So see, so India's approach, if you were to think about, for a very long time, India has been non-aligned. Okay, that's actually led the non-aligned movement in the world. Okay, what it means is that it was not part of the Soviet bloc or the US bloc. Okay, and that is actually helping India today, because now it can make more opportunistic relationships depending on wherever it sees its interest aligned, right? Like you saw that happening with Russia. When there was a Ukraine war, Russian oil became cheap. India was the largest buyer of Russian oil, right? And it is not like they are breaking away relations from US and Europe while doing that. They're still able to export their goods and services to both US and Europe, and still able to get their capital in India, right? And India is like very adaptive in that sense. Wherever the opportunities are, they are kind of going there. Like Middle East, if you were to think about, India exports a lot of labor to Middle East.
Right.
Okay, like if you go to UAE, 40% of people living there are Indians. Okay, 10% is Emiratis.
Yeah, actually, this map is showing that. Advantage, right?
Yeah, that's the advantage. I mean, with Japan, we know, right? Suzuki has been around for so long, and after Suzuki, there are 1,000 more other companies in Japan who have gone to India. Yeah.
Okay, this is about regarding the iTrust India equities. Last question. Let me turn to specific investment themes and the stock ideas. Which areas are you currently focusing on? My curiosity on from this book, the healthcare business. I'm very curious on this.
Sure.
Okay.
Okay. So yeah, so we have kind of spoken about like 4 themes which interest us. One is the financialization of savings. Other is healthcare, as you mentioned. Third is IT services. And fourth is the internet economy. Yeah, these are the 4 interesting themes happening in India today.
This material is very interesting. Where is your most focusing point? This materials.
Most focusing point. That's very difficult to take out. I would say the most interesting one is actually looking at these 2 charts. One, it is showing you what Indian equities have done over the last 20-30 years. Okay, which
kind
is
of the resilience, right?
Sorry?
A very strong resilience.
Exactly. Yeah, that's what we are trying to show here. That markets obviously will go up and down, as you've seen in the past also. But when they go down, both the probability of making money and the amount of money you make after that is quite good. Okay.
The reason is your domestic investment power. Your domestic investors are very strong, right?
They have become strong of late. They were not so strong earlier. So in India, we have got this system called as systematic investment plans, by which people are putting money every month, very small amount everybody is putting.
Really?
It's like $100, $200. But in aggregate, that's $3 billion every month going into Indian equities by retail investors. So that's huge, right? So that is actually giving market a lot of supports, not letting it go down easily. But that's a phenomena of last few years. Before that, I would say it's more about how Indian economy has developed, how corporates have grown in India. That is what has given the long-term returns that India has made.
Oh, I see. Each investment is very small amount money, but you have the huge people,
popular.
huge investors.
Yes.
It's a very beautiful story.
Yes.
I see. Okay, seems that the time is up, but this is really the final question. I often watch Indian movies. I love that, but I never been to India. A friend of mine who has been to India, he says that going to India will change your life. Do you think this is true? This is not true?
I think that's a very sweeping conclusion. But it depends on what you take out of India, right? India has so much to offer. What you take out of it is, it depends on you. I mean, whether you go there just as a tourist and see their whatever mountains and palaces and rivers and whatever deserts. I mean, India has everything, right, to see. Or whether you go into maybe villages and see the real people, how they live there. Or maybe you go into one of those kind of ashrams where priests will be teaching you about spirituality, and which is what actually changes lives of people. I mean, I've seen a lot of people going from like US or Europe also, going there, learning about yoga, learning about the traditional kind of culture, learning about meditation, spirituality, and that actually has changed a lot of people. I mean, a lot of them have decided to then stay back in India because they just fall in love with that type of a culture rather than going back to their materialistic world from where they came from.
If possible, you should go to Shin-Okubo. Shin-Okubo is a Japanese small station near the Shinjuku.
Okay.
I saw the very interesting the scene there. I went to the supermarket.
Okay.
Supermarket leader is Pakistan.
Okay.
And working people is Bangladesh and of course India and a lot of the South Asia people.
Okay.
But they are using Hindu. They are speaking.
They're speaking Hindi, yeah?
Yeah.
Interesting.
Everybody speaking Hindi.
Yeah.
I think this is a really the scene of the cosmopolitan.
Yeah. I mean, these are all one country before, right? Before the independence of India, after which the breakup happened, India, Pakistan, Bangladesh, all was one country.
Thank you for giving a chance to speak with you there.
Thank you very much.
I really enjoyed the conversation and the discussion with you there.
Me as well.
Next time, I'm hoping. Time is up. ありがとうございました。私の拙い英語でしたが、どうでしょうか？伝わりましたでしょうか？とても面白くて、とてもなんか先行きチャンスがあるかなっていうそういう雰囲気皆さんに伝わったらいいかなと思います。ありがとうございました。
ありがとうございました。